Hello and welcome everyone at the Newtis Virtual Summit. I'm very happy that we are able to connect virtually. I also hope that we'll soon resume our on-site activities whenever possible, so I have the pleasure to meet you in person. We are living in unprecedented times, and I really hope that you, your friends, and your families are staying healthy and safe. Thank you for attending and participating to this event. It is yours, and I hope that you will get the most out of it. Of course, I can start without saying a few words about the strange times we are living through. COVID-19 has dramatically changed our life, and to some extent, we have never been so close, so connected. And through these difficult times, we are all proving resilient and determined to support each other. At Neotis, we are fully committed to support you, our customers, and our partners throughout this journey. I am very thankful and proud of the entire Neotis team who has shown a fantastic engagement during the crisis. We have supported numerous initiatives with our partners, providing our performance testing platform for free for government, NGOs, and organizations related to the education or healthcare projects. For instance, with Sogeti, we have supported the German state of government agency to launch a coronavirus financial aid website in under a week. With Accenture in the US, we have supported them testing a public facing application for the states and cities to register and organize the COVID testing. With Valory in Netherlands, we have helped with hospital capacity planning. And with Expleo in Scotland, we have helped with a traceability app for the NHS. And in the meantime, and despite the hardship of the economical ground for many industries, technology usage and digital transformation have continued to accelerate with clear winners like the explosion of the cloud consumption or the access to the e-commerce and the overall tech industry, if we follow what the stock market is telling us. So the COVID-19 crisis has reinforced existing trends and triggered new behaviors. Remote working extensively, leveraging video conferencing. Business continuity has become a critical factor for all enterprises around the world. And digital channels have risen sharply. And cloud adoption, right, has dramatically accelerated. A very good example for Neotis is the fact that we have sold our solution NeoLoad to a tier one airline company based in Asia during the first wave of confinement, which was honestly a surprise to all of us. So digital transformation has not stopped. On the contrary, it's accelerating, and organizations are adapting the way they build applications to compete and succeed in this challenging environment. So beyond the solution we build, we invest more and more of our time and energy into understanding, contributing, and diffusing the application performance expertise. We are passionate about it. You can feel it through the discussions with any of our team member, whether it's through customer success meetings, meetings in conferences or webinars, or our initiatives such as the Performance Advisory Council, the PAC. The last session was 2 weeks ago, named the Jurassic Park. And during 24 hours, experts from the industry, coming from leading companies like Dynatrace, Splunk, or Netflix, were debating about performance observability, increasing the trust in automated analysis was another topic, or the chaos engineering. And all those technological progress and practice improvement are shaping up the future of load and performance testing. So we believe now is the time for performance engineering. And this is a very exciting time. Performance engineering can be described as the way to achieve a high level application performance to benefit the business. This is a company wide cultural change to achieve the goal of making performance the responsibility of all. It synchronizes quality assurance and testing with DevOps processes. It's about defined and shared accountability and ownership. It's about continuous performance management across the application lifecycle. It's about breaking silos and empowering people. And it's about bridging the gap of a techno-centric matter and a customer experience and a business goal. So as performance engineering is still new and evolves fast, we have partnered with Sogeti Cap on a big and fantastic joint project. We worked with the experts of several organizations in order to understand more deeply the state of performance engineering. Our learnings are captured into a report that I highly recommend that you read to evaluate how your organization is progressing towards this journey compared to the 500 plus organizations we have surveyed. So why performance matters for the business? Well, in a COVID world, working remotely and efficiently is so important. So how the performance of services and front ends behave with my poor connection from home. In retail in general, for example, the expectation continue to raise. But in particular, when we look at fast food restaurants, for example, we've seen companies that were very ready for the crisis. APIs connecting the customer-facing application to the kitchen, to the delivery through services like Uber Eats, and others were really not there yet. They were relying more on the traditional ordering and consumption in the restaurant and have been investing strongly and catching up, by the way, significantly. So we've seen similar patterns with furniture and other retailers, by the way. And in other back-end systems, finance, healthcare, insurance, it's really about how do you stay even under the COVID. Unemployment, VAs, loans, healthcare. How do you plan for a global pandemic or for fires in California to this extent? And under that, how do you manage the spikes on the systems, on your systems, and still delight your customers and users and keep the system up at all time? So when we look at the business negative impact and take a step back, really first we see that the report is telling us that the incidents remain the greatest driver of a change. A failure has a strong impact on revenue or on the internal productivity. A failure is obvious, everybody can see it, but it's too late. So unfortunately, the performance is too often in people's mind when it's bad. It's hard for people to think proactively and to provide with a consistent effort to solve the problem. So negative impact on the revenue is number one. But beyond that, we have to evaluate the impact regarding all those different buckets here on the screen. And the SMEs have to do that. They must know this in order to make the case for a proactive work and for a budget. And to get the information, they have to engage with the business owners of the application. So organizations want to become more and more proactive. And so as they do that, they wonder how to track the various aspects of the application performance, how to assess how ready are the systems and the infrastructure to take more pressure and perform well. So in number one, for 78% of the people, they are correlating pre and post production application performance. So this is really about the shift left and the shift right. And the SMEs, the subject matter experts, are progressing very well on this journey. And in number three here, we see that still 40% of the people are almost not correlating performance with business metrics. So is the organization struggling to provide this information? Is it a communication challenge? And by the way, keep in mind that this challenge about understanding the application performance is often bigger and more complex in the cloud or in mixed infrastructures. Because cloud has a lot of positive benefits, but it's not easy to manage. It's not at least as easy to manage as the providers are saying. There are limits to reprovisioning machines. Auto-scaling is not instantaneous. And there is a lack of, granularity and sometimes of experience of the users about how to use cloud default monitoring tools. It takes time to understand deeply how your cloud application will behave and how fast you can deploy solution and solve the problems. So sometimes, as you try to learn or as you are already in production, you use some settings and turn them to the maximum to solve quickly a problem. But the problem is it's very expensive on the long term. So really, we have to progress with that. And the good news is we see the practice really evolving. Migration to the cloud can be done progressively, deploying cluster of services, baselining, taking the measurement, set proper expectations in terms of SLOs and SLAs. So at the end of the day, it boils down to how ready is your organization to react fast and how much the processes are ready to handle an unplanned event. But creating this infrastructure, maintaining it, organizing better reaction time, validating those processes, testing them, it costs time and money. And in the World Quality Report from 2015, more than 30% of the IT budget was allocated to testing and QA. In 2019, from the same report, the share of the IT budget has dropped, mainly because of automated testing has been progressing, but it's still 23%. So it's a lot of money. And as we have written down in the State of Performance Engineering report, the performance is too important to be left to performance testers. And by the way, those testers agree with that most of the time. The performance imperative should be in leaders and managers' mindset as well. This is not just an SME to establish the right return on investment. So that's why performance engineering requires an ownership mindset to build the bridge, starting with the better understanding of the business risk and the business impact, and then to align and bind the technical and business metrics. A good example of alignment of business and IT efforts is from the IMA group. They provide an assistance for accidents and incidents happening at home, with your car, or when you travel. A bit similarly to what AAA is doing. Their services and customer relationships have to handle 6,000 cases per day. The claim processing and the application responsiveness is mainly used by the internal users. So the technical response time of this application, they impact directly the performance and the efficiency of the team. And therefore, it impacts the customers as the team provide an overall faster business response time to process the claim. So in a context of a crisis, such as the COVID pandemic, the entire time it takes to process a claim has a major impact on the life of their customers. And this is monitored at the highest management level. This is a joint set of metrics, technical and business, assessed and owned by a performance committee composed of the technical SMEs and of the business leadership team. So I think this is a very great example to follow. And when an organization gets bigger and you want to deploy this mindset across all product teams, well, the scale is a challenge. So a good practice is to deploy the performance engineering culture, and to do that, it's to rely on the SME to help the teams, and with some questions that every stakeholder and practitioner should feel free to ask at any moment in their work. Like, how does this work I'm doing relate to the final business outcome? How does my work improve the performance and the reliability of the application? And how do we measure that? What bad things are likely to happen if we don't measure the performance and the reliability of this work? So, who will be affected by those bad things? These questions are the job of the performance engineer to ask during the planning and the day-to-day consultations with the development teams. Reminds and encourage the product team to ask and answer these questions themselves, actually, even before consulting the performance engineer. And of course, when they are not able to answer themselves, then you know that you can apply the right amount of time and effort from the performance engineering. That's really how to scale, right? So because performance engineering skills are most of the time rare in the organization, we see some transformation happening to help scale the practice and continue to improve the speed of the testing to match the pace of the delivery required. So we see practice transforming from as a service, where the COE, the Center of Excellence, retails all the expertise, to a consultative approach, where the COE helps putting in place the right frameworks and can sometimes be embedded in the teams, and ultimately to the self-service, where the team has greater autonomy. So per the survey, we see that 37% of the performance testing is carried out by specialized teams versus 17% in agile teams autonomously. And in the middle, some hybrid balance where 29% are consultative. As the organizations are building on their key learnings and encourage the adoption outside the SMEs, the culture start to be diffused across the team, and the maturity evolve, and the ownership improve. So at Neotis, we estimate today that among our customers, we have 60% of them that are already moving to a consultative approach. And more are moving to a self-service approach. Currently, we estimate that at roughly 20%. So we made some workshop with our customers more advanced in this journey, and we asked them, what are the main questions they use to drive their implementation? And well, at first, it starts with how are the performance outcomes that of my product and team are easily consumable by the next level up or across the portfolio by the managers and the VPs. Because without such a shared view of or exposition, how can we connect the business outcomes that are tied to together across the systems at the leadership level? How do we know where in our portfolio to encourage more improvement when necessary? And how can we expect that the local quality assurance task are mapped to the more global quality management policies and guidelines? Another question that helps customer driving the implementation is, how are we making performance mindset early, often, and easy by default? And it's about having the processes and pipelines based out of templates. It's about easy to put things into that frameworks, Git, Dev API testing, automatically extracts reports, results, and insights, make performance testing accessible from broader delivery processes and pipelines, uh, easy to run and rerun stuff. It's about sharing lessons learned and the SME knowledge. Uh, how does this get disbursed? Well, it could be through wiki documentation, could be through weekly that the SME use to share their knowledge. Performance engineer contributing to improve the process of code review, for instance. And at the leadership level, this is really across departments. How to modernize the overall delivery experience of those combined set of metrics and takeaways. They should be easily consumable by those people. So as organizations are progressing in this journey of improving their performance engineering practice, we ask them, what are the challenges they face? And it boils down to really two categories: the skills and communications. Those challenges here are very aligned with what we are discussing now. There is a skill shortage for performance engineering, and we need to train more people in the organization. The experts from the performance COE have this ability to diffuse their knowledge to the product teams and to help them grow in autonomy. And we retrieve the communication challenges with the business stakeholders. It is hard to break the silos. On the technology category one, finding the right tool stack, driving more automation, and reproducing the test environment. And if we zoom into the technology topics and look at where people want to invest more, um, without a surprise, on top, we have the automation, the integration with functional testing, and the cloud testing infrastructure. They translate the progress of continuous testing, which is key to match the need for speed. And we see appearing and progressing the integration with the CI/CD pipeline, the shift left and the shift right, and the desire to deploy performance engineering into agile and DevOps teams. And I think this is really encouraging, as it shows the desire to breaking down the silos and expose the performance topic to the rest of the organization. It's a key element of the culture of the performance engineering. So at Neotis, we are all in to continue to shape Neoload to be the best load testing platform and to truly embrace the performance engineering culture. And so based on these requirements, we are driven by four pillars. The first one is to test fast and release fast. The performance testing should never be a bottleneck. It's about easy test design, automated script maintenance, continuous testing included with test as code, by the way, being integrated in CI pipelines, and all of that being cloud powered. The second pillar really it's about scaling the performance engineering across the organization. Standardized performance engineering with one platform for all teams and skill sets, from the DevOps and performance engineers to product owners and the application teams managers. So numerous interfaces to pilot Neoload, the UI, of course, but as a code as well. Collaboration features like resource reservation, workspaces organization, or dynamic infrastructure management. And of course, supporting all the technologies: web, mobile, IoT, package apps, SAP and Salesforce, for instance, Citrix. The third pillar is about the cloud native approach. So multi-cloud ready. We support today OpenShift, Amazon, Azure, Google, Kubernetes, Docker, and all their cloud CI tools, AWS, CodeBuild, GitLab, Azure DevOps. That's really important. And finally, the fourth pillar, the rapid return on performance. And for everyone, not just the experts. It's a short learning curve, it's an on-demand infrastructure, an open and collaborative platform, more time on the analysis versus the scripting, the automation, the cloud cost control, and all that backed up by a super technical support team and customer success engineers. And Patrick will give you more details about where we are pushing your load a little bit later today. So with that, I thank you for your time and attention. I wish you a great ramp-up session today and stay healthy.